Welcome to another episode of the Tampa Bay Real Producers Podcast. This, of course, is Real Producers. Such as our guest today, we get to hang out with Heidi Joy. How are you, Heidi?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. It's good to have you here on the show. Heidi, if you're familiar with our platform, was featured in the Tampa Bay Real Producers magazine. We looked it up earlier. It was in the October issue of 2022 already. It's amazing how fast time goes, right? That's over a year ago. We actually featured Heidi as a local legend in this market, and Heidi will talk about her story, actually dive into that right now, but I would check out that issue. I know that we'll post it as well on a lot of our different platforms. So Heidi, why don't we get started with just your background? Did you grow up in this market? If not, how did you make your way to Tampa? And ultimately, what was it about real estate that got you interested?
Sure. So I actually grew up about an hour and a half north of here in beautiful little Crystal River.
Crystal River, okay. How about that? So you're fairly local.
I moved to Clearwater when I was 17, the day after I graduated high school.
Okay.
Through my 20s, I had a career in the restaurant business. My former spouse and I owned a Hooters franchise, believe it or not.
Okay.
And
that's the original one in Clearwater, right?
That's where I started.
There you go.
And it's funny because I used to not really share that because people have a different, connotation. They look at you differently. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, I learned some of my best business negotiation skills, people skills, working in that restaurant.
Sure, I can imagine.
And we franchised the Panhandle of Florida, then opened up a franchise in Southern California. And then I found myself in my late 20s that unfortunately marriage did not work. Mm-hmm. And I found myself going, what am I going to do now? Mm-hmm. And I was a single mom, and I was like, I can't do this forever, right? So what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough when we were in the Panhandle of Florida, that was back in the late 80s, and there were a lot of non-qualifying assumable loans out there. Mm-hmm. And I bought my first house when I was 18.
Nice.
And
did you always have an interest in real estate, or?
I did.
Yeah.
And when I was a little girl, we lived with my grandparents, and my grandparents were always building and fixing houses, so I just kind of had that natural piece of me growing up. And then I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to go to college in my late 20s as a single mom, so what am I going to do? I'm going to go get a real estate license.
Yep.
And I was actually recruited by a local Century 21 franchise back then. And I went and got my license, and I laugh now because I was so fearless then. Like, I had no idea what I didn't know. And I bought and sold my own personal homes during my 20s. And I think back on, I would take a contract and I would take white out and just put new information on it every time I sold a house. And it was the best decision I'd ever made. And
so back up for a second. How many different franchises did you own with Hooters?
We own two different franchises.
One in Florida, one in California, did you say? Okay.
And so that was a total of, I don't know, maybe 15 restaurants back at the time.
Got it. Okay.
And again, you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
And I was kind of taught to pitch investors. Mm-hmm. So I knew what the numbers were, mm-hmm. And we wanted this much of an investment, and if we do X, Y, and Z within 2 years, you'll be fully repaid your investment, and then it will just be profits based on our knowledge of how to run the franchise.
Sure.
And thinking back about raising millions of dollars in my 20s, mm-hmm. Again, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah, it's an awesome experience for sure.
Yeah, so got into real estate, absolutely loved it. I was Rookie of the Year when Rookie of the Year wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. And
you were the OG of Rookies of the Years, huh? Was that with Century 21 at the time?
No, okay. I was only with Century 21 for just a minute, okay. And then I was recruited by Keller Williams. Mm-hmm. When Keller Williams was nothing, right? Like, it was a no name. They were the company from Texas. There wasn't really any in Florida.
Right.
And that's kind of where my journey began. And I spent the next 20 years or so with a partner, and we had a team, didn't have a team, and then in 2018, my luck struck again, and that relationship didn't work out.
Okay.
And
So your partner was a business partner as well?
business partner and spouse, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. Husband number 2.
Gotcha.
And that was in 2018.
Did you sell off the Hooters franchises when your first marriage?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So
sold out of that.
so you got out of that entirely, and
Completely.
then just
Yep.
completely committed into real estate. That was
Yep.
a new beginning for you.
Yep.
Okay.
And then in 2018, I had always lived in North Pinellas, and our business kind of focused up there. I mean, we kind of sold all over, but like generally there. And I picked up and I moved down to the Bel Air area, and I did not know a single solitary person.
Yeah. That changed quick, I would imagine, huh?
And not knowing anybody and being in real estate is kind of tricky.
Sure.
So I had to recreate, and not only did I have to recreate the business, but it was just me. And I knew that I didn't have the bandwidth, I didn't have the strength, I didn't have that fearless 20-year-old in me anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to build a team, and I don't want to sell 100 houses a year, but I want to make more money.
Sure.
So I got real strategic in raising my price point and focusing on creating new relationships with higher net worth individuals.
That was around 2018, you're saying?
2018, and then by the end of 2019, I had quadrupled my price point, and I was in the high nines. My average sales price, literally for 20 years, was a little over 200,000.
Yeah.
Because we sold everything.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't matter.
Yep.
And that was another great decision. Right. So I got into luxury, went to every and any luxury conference training that I could possibly get my hands on. And it's been amazing. We were talking a little bit about my numbers last year before we started. We pended and contracted and closed it last year 44 million. Some of them rolled into the new year, but that was only in 39 transactions.
Yep.
So I don't work 12-hour days anymore.
Yeah. That's
I
awesome.
actually get to
Your business has evolved as you've evolved.
Yeah, I actually get to spend time in relationship with the people that I'm working with. Because it's not just on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. You get to actually be involved in people's lives. And I remember agents talking about that, and I'm like, oh, that's nice for you. Who has time for that?
Right. How many transactions would you remember those other years when you were really focused on volume, it seems like? Do you remember like what your biggest year was in terms of number of transactions?
Like 75 or 80.
Okay. And that was of all different price points and all different buyers.
And it was a blur. Like
Yeah.
I can't name a single street or person. I don't remember any of it.
Right. Right.
Because it was just a grind.
Were you also team building at that time?
Yeah.
You mentioned it. So at what point, when was the team the biggest? What did that look like?
It was only like 6 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were still dividing your efforts from individual production to coaching and supporting your team.
Absolutely.
And your organization.
And I had a lot at that time. I had a lot of passion around coaching and mentoring. And, my very first assistant, she owns a transaction management company, and she's so successful. And it's so beautiful to watch her like grow and blossom. And I remember our initial coaching conversations, and she's just a phenomenal person. And, she called me one day and she said, I learned how to do this from you, Heidi.
That's cool.
So it's a feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's impressive that a couple things. I mean, we just went through a lot there, your whole history in a few minutes, but as I have seen in my role, like to have somebody even in the industry for over 20 years, as you've done successfully, speaks a lot to your ability to pivot and to understand how to be able to address changes in the market, changes in buyers and sellers. I mean, you've seen a good amount throughout that term, and personally gone through, a couple different marriages, which create their own dramas and dilemmas. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of lessons, I'm sure, that you can harp on and think back to. And I'm curious too, because sometimes when newer agents sometimes listen to a podcast like this, like maybe they have this goal or desire of wanting to build this mega team. And you've experienced maybe not a mega team, but you've experienced team building and gone through that route. Now you've kind of pivoted again, and seems like you're very focused now on the key of like the high net worth relationship and building the luxury side. And that I think is also appealing to some other people too, and wanting to focus on that area. Is there a certain time that you can pinpoint that you felt like has just been the most enjoyable part of the journey for you? Has it been now with the luxury focus you have, or is there other moments where you look back I guess I'm asking, is there anything you would change, or do you feel like it's just all been an enjoyable ride along the way?
I would change the ex-husbands.
That makes sense. That's a good point. There had to be something that you would be willing to change, I guess, right?
I'm a smart aleck. I apologize.
That's all good.
No, I mean, I believe that everything that you go through for a reason.
Yeah.
There is nothing that has happened to me, good, bad, or indifferent, that wasn't a lesson that I needed to learn. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful that I've been through what I've been through. I remember years literally working out of my laundry room, because that was the only space in the house, and doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of short sales. I negotiated short sales all over the country in 2008, 2009, and 2010. And I became really, really good at it.
Sure.
Pivot is the spin word now, right? Like everybody loves to use the word pivot. I just keep spinning, right? Because I don't know where I'm going to land next. I know that the market is changing again, right? And I've been through this before,
right?
In all different facets. I'm excited when things change. When I actually struggle more when things are good. When it was COVID and, you just had to step outside and a buyer or seller grabbed you and said, please help me. And I want to pay you in 30 days. Like, I don't like working like that.
Yeah.
And the cream's going to rise.
You'd rather show off your skills a little bit, right?
Well, yeah. And the cream's going to rise to the top in this market that we're in right now.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact numbers of how many people left the business. And there will be another cleansing of people leaving the business, and the real professionals will remain.
Yeah, no, I mean, even in my role, I've seen that I get a chance to look at the numbers of who the top 500 are and what they produce compared to everybody else. And there has been a difference even just in the last year about the total number of agents that are out there and what they are producing if they're not a top 500 producer, right? What the rest of them do. So it makes a lot of sense. When you think about like specific lessons or challenges that you feel like you've learned over the years in business, specifically with real estate, if you were giving some advice to an agent who in their mind thinks, I want to be in this business for the long haul, right? And was that a decision that you feel like you made early in your career where you just knew no matter what was going to happen, you were committed to making this work on the real estate side? Or I have to imagine, was there times where you were like, do I really want to be doing this? Like, is this really the right thing for me? Because again, to be in any industry for over 20 years, it says a lot to your level of commitment, right? And why you're here in the first place. So can you speak a little bit to that and anything that you feel like has helped you get through some of those more challenging moments during that time?
Sure. And I like that you use the word committed, because when I commit and I don't let go.
Yeah.
I don't let go no matter what. And it's really hard for me to release things sometimes. I'm getting better at releasing things that I need to release than I used to be. But there are no other options for me. I have this is my career. I don't have a long pedigree of where I went to college and this, that, and the other thing. This is my life.
Right.
And I don't mean that from a obsessive place where I don't do anything else but work, but real estate is part of who I am. And during COVID, my daughter and son-in-law were living in Chicago, and he's got a finance degree. He's got more degrees than I don't even know, right? Like, he's a brilliant guy. My daughter's a accountant by trade. They're both working in downtown Chicago in the city, and COVID happens and the city shuts down. And they show up at my house. And I'm like, oh, this is a little too small for all of us, but whatever. I mean, I'm very blessed. I'm lucky. I live on the beach, and it was a nice time. Well, lo and behold, during that time, she got pregnant, and they made the decision that they didn't really want to go back to the city now that they were going to have kids, and they decided to stay here. And when she was on maternity leave, because they both kept their Chicago jobs because everybody could work remote. And when she was on maternity leave, she came to me one day and she said, Mom, I don't want to go back to work. And I'm like, oh, honey, that is a conversation for your husband, not your mother. And she's like, no, you don't understand. I want to come work with you. And I totally dismissed her. Because she's in her early 30s at this point. We had 1,000 opportunities for you to do that. I would have saved a lot of money on college.
Right.
And she's like, no, I want to raise my kids the way that you raised me. You were always there. You had a great career, and that's how I want to raise my children.
That's cool. That's awesome.
There's not a better moment in all of my years of anything than that moment right there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because I always thought I worked too
Enough
much.
to make you tear up, huh?
No, it does. It still makes me tear up when I tell that story. I mean, because I always thought I worked too much and I wasn't available enough and I was on the phone too much. And for her to want to be part of this, and not only be part of this, but help it grow and truly be a legacy business.
Yeah.
And then my fire and my spark came back, because not only do I get to mentor a young woman, but that young woman is my daughter.
That's awesome. When did she start working with you? Right around COVID, you said? Right after COVID?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think, 2.5 years ago-ish, okay. Right? So...
has it been everything you expected it to be in the last 2 years?
No. No, right?
In a better way?
So she gets started, we get going, and one of my big things that I like to do that you asked about that's helped me been successful is travel and go to conferences. I am a conference junkie.
Cool.
I love to go, I love to learn. So
KW has a lot of great events.
Yeah, well, no, but I do a lot of non KW stuff, brand specific, and we're at our first women's conference together. Super excited, speakers on the stage, asking all kinds of questions, and one of the questions is, what part of your life are you ignoring that you need to address? She turns to me and looks at me and says, telling my mom that I'm pregnant again and I just started working for her? Oh my God.
Great moment to spill the beads, I guess, huh?
But again, it was one of those, we were sitting at a table with some of the greatest women in real estate from around the country that were all moms.
Yeah.
That all have great careers and kids, multiple kids. There couldn't have been a better place for her to release that and share that, right? And so we had a little bit of a slow start because we had another baby. But last year, I would say, was kind of her true first real year in business with me. Mm-hmm. And we had 41% growth last year when most people didn't even maintain or did less, right?
Yep, totally.
So we had a 41% growth in a year that wasn't most people's story.
Absolutely not.
And with our plans and everything that we're tracking on, right now, we expect to have another growth this year.
Is that growth, would you say, Heidi, coming mostly through just the power of investing in the relationships that you have with this
in
particular clientele?
investing in the relationships, and she's a different age demographic than I am.
Sure.
She has a whole different set of sphere
Network,
and skills, right? So her skills we're polar opposite. So like, she's social media and video, and she has taken my brand, if you will, and just made it 1,000 times better. Like
That's awesome.
what I was proud of 4 years ago.
We could have had her on the show with you here today. We could,
I asked
next
her
time, next time we'll have to do a little three-way there. That would work. Yeah.
But I mean, she has taken things that I was proud of 4 years ago, and now I want to hide it because I'm embarrassed, because I'm like, oh, that's terrible. But she just has a really amazing mind and eye, and I would be remiss if I also didn't mention our director of operations and client concierge, Taylor. Like, I am surrounded by two of the strongest, best young women, young mothers, that have a desire and a burn just like I did when I was that age. And I don't know, it's ignited my spark again. Because, I mean, to be honest, selling another house is not really that
That's
exciting.
not what's getting you excited, huh?
It's not really that exciting. I know how to sell a house. I'm really good at negotiations. That's not what does it for me.
Right.
It's helping these women grow, not only as real estate professionals, but as women.
No doubt.
Right? Working women. And
what's your daughter's name?
Her name is Lexi Spitz.
Lexi. Shout out to Lexi out there. I don't know if you're able to watch us live, Lexi, but I look forward to meeting you one day, I hope. That's powerful stuff. I appreciate you sharing. I want to talk a little bit more about that too, but I had a question also regarding the distinction in your experience between being a franchise owner versus being a real estate professional. Did you ever have an inclination to want to get back into franchises at any point during this 20-plus year career, or once you got into real estate, like you just knew this was the niche for me?
This was home for me.
Okay. What was it about real estate that you felt like was like such an immediate attractiveness and obviously a retaining tool that you stayed with it as you have, as compared to, being distracted or tempted to, get involved in another business opportunity or get involved in another franchise that you've had success with in the past or whatever? Like, is there some specific things about real estate that you feel like really hit home for you?
Yeah. So the actual home, right?
Sure.
So I'll share with you, like when I was growing up, my grandfather built homes and rehabbed homes, right? So I knew more than the average blonde girl on a little bit about construction, right?
Yeah.
So I was able to go in and look at a house with a client and see things that the naked eye might not be able to notice. So, and look at things, I always look at things kind of strategically. Like, is this the right fit in this neighborhood based on how many years you want to be here? Is this the right fit for you? And I've actually told people, don't buy that.
Sure.
I've said, don't list your house now. Because I just don't go into things, oh, you want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and you want it to be within this block radius, and this is your budget. Like, what are your long-term goals? What are your immediate goals? And then what are your long-term goals?
Yep.
And then we find and make decisions from there.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So that whole consultative approach, you just felt like the niche of real estate was able to match that angle, that approach pretty well. And why leave if you've been enjoying it and you're passionate about it, right?
Well, and the other piece of real estate that was super attractive to me is there's no ceiling, right? Like you only make this. And ever since I was, super young, I never wanted to go to work every day.
Yeah.
And no matter if I did a good job or a bad job, I made the same amount of money.
Right.
So that entrepreneurial part of me has always been there. And the fact that there's no ceiling in real estate. You can...
No cap, yep.
Yep, you can make
You
as
pay
much.
what you're worth.
Yep, you can make as much as you want, or you can also make not so much if you don't get out there and work.
And you mentioned earlier that like when the short sale season was hot, you pivoted to that and had made that a focused strategy. I'm assuming with the ebbs and flows of the market, right, over the last 20 plus years, is that where you were kind of forced to make these adjustments and changes to various strategies that you just felt like were needed in order to make sure that the income was there and that you can hit the goals that you had for yourself? Is that what forced you to kind of make these different changes?
I would love to tell you that I was smart enough to know all that ahead of time, but no, I didn't. You know,
just reacted to the market changes, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel things first, and then I go and take what I feel and go get the data to back it up. Like I can feel market changes before I actually look at the numbers. I'm like, okay, so it's not just in my head because, you know, obviously my business is just a small segment of what's happening, you know, here in the metro area. But like I've always intuitively could feel things.
Yeah, I mean that's hard to. That you either had that or you don't, right? It's one of those gut things that, and it also speaks again to somebody who has made real estate a career as you have. Like why you would be good at it is because there's part of it that's just innate, right?
Right. So like last year, for example, interest rates went through the roof. Buyers were exhausted from multiple offers, and that traditional part of my real estate practice was dead. But going into that season, if you will, I could feel that slipping away. I could feel the inquiries, the conversations changing. But the conversations with the higher net worth people, we were not having the same conversations, right? Because interest rates don't matter to them. They pay cash.
Right.
They buy what they want, not what they need. And had it not been for that segment, because we still help everyone.
Sure.
But if it had not been for that segment of our real estate business, I would have been eating ramen noodles last year. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I was very blessed.
What percentage of your business now, Heidi, would you say is luxury focused compared to just traditional real estate?
I don't know that it's necessarily focused. It's just the bulk of what we're doing.
Of your volume.
Yeah. Of what we're doing now. It's not, again, I don't know that it's necessarily, I'm people focused, not price focused.
Sure.
It just happens to be where I've landed.
If you had to identify like one distinguishing difference between serving that clientele versus other clientele that you've served over the years, what would be the one biggest difference that you would say you've either had to work on or that you feel like has helped you serve that at a higher level?
Just getting to know them, right? Like what's important. Sometimes, you know, you assume that I shouldn't say you assume. People assume a lot of times that they're going to be more difficult, that they're going to be more demanding, that they're going to not want to pay you what you're worth, you know, because those are some big commission checks that you get when you sell some of those homes, right? My experience has been the complete opposite. They're more respectful of your time. They're more respectful of you as a professional, and they're usually a heck of a lot less stressed out.
Yeah.
And they're actually easier to work with.
Yeah. I mean, speaking from an outside perspective, I would feel like a big part of that is the way that you lay out the expectations up front on the consultative approach that you already talked about, right? Because I mean, if they feel like if you act and present yourself as a true professional through a consultative approach, then they're going to see that you know what you're talking about, and they're going to, I think, respect you even more because they know that they feel like they're in good hands, you know? And I would have to imagine that's a big part of why you get good results in that space specifically. What gets you fired up when you think about the rest of this year and moving forward? Like if you have a specific goal or just anything, it doesn't even have to be business related necessarily, and we're going to transition into a couple personal questions as well for people to get to know you more. We've already talked a little bit about your family, but we're going to talk about a couple other things. But what's a big goal or something that gets you excited when you look forward?
So when I look forward, I want to set more records. Like I set some amazing records last year. I had a $13 million week.
Nice.
You know, I capped in one transaction at our company, you only pay a certain dollar amount and then you're at 100%. I did that in one transaction.
Nice.
I set some amazing records of price per square foot sales on beach condos. I want to set more records this year.
That gets you fired up, huh?
There's still that competitive. I compete with myself.
Yeah.
Like I don't compete with other people.
Sure.
But I want to set more records.
I love that.
And
That's cool.
my darling daughter has tasked me with vacation this year. So she's like, if we're at our number by mid-year, we are booking our Hawaiian Christmas.
Nice.
And we will be gone from this date to this date, and it will be booked and paid for in July. So
that's cool.
Because I don't want to disappoint her, I guess I better get after it.
Better get working, Mom. Better get working. So we mentioned already your daughter Alexis, or Lexi, I should say, works with you. And you have a son as well, you mentioned? Or no?
Son-in-law.
Son-in-law,
Yep.
okay. How many grandkids do you have now?
2.
2 grandkids. And how old are they?
1.5 and 2.5. And they're 11 months apart.
And so they're obviously living with Lexi locally, right? So what's it like to just have the family close and nearby, knowing that they were in Chicago at one point? So I'm assuming that's a little bit of a different dynamic. I'm assuming a blessing for sure. But knowing that they're right here in the backyard, you get to experience the grandkids growing up. I mean, I'm sure that that's a pretty cool experience.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky. I live out on the beach. They live, here in South Tampa, and we're close enough that if we need each other, we're right there. And we're also far enough away that we're not in each other's, intimate day.
Right.
So.
Got it. Couple of quick questions, just rapid fire questions about just you for people to get to know you if they don't know who you are. Do you have a favorite book or author or even a seminar? You mentioned you love going to conferences. Mm-hmm. I do as well, actually. I'm sure we can talk about that for a whole other show. But is there a particular event or even a book or an author that has really made an impact on you personally or professionally?
Yes, all of the above.
We have to pick one for now. We don't have all the time in the world to go into all of them, but we'll pick one.
So one of my favorite events, and I'm so glad that it's back again, and I went to it my very, very first year in real estate, was Star Power.
Star Power.
Correct. And I was told to if I didn't do anything else my first year, to attend this Star Power conference. And I very distinctly remember going and spending $799 that I did not have to attend. And it was, again, one of those moments that put the fire in. I listened to these speakers and stars from all over the country, all different walks of life, all different business models, speak and share their story. And I was so inspired that, like, hey, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
If he can do it, I can do it. I want to learn more about them. I really like that. Oh, I didn't like that so much. Well, you take what you like and you leave the rest.
Yeah.
So
do you have a speaker that you love the most? Anyone stand out?
Oh no, they're all amazing for different reasons, right? And it depends on like what you're interested in.
Right.
So like if you're interested in generating more in today's world, Facebook leads, then, go with the guy that's crushing Facebook leads.
Sure.
Or YouTube, or whatever subject matter it is that you're interested in. If you're highly relational and somebody else has a business that's all relationship based, go learn from them. Mm-hmm. And they're just so sharing and open. And
yeah, it's cool. I haven't heard of that event before. It's an annual event, Star Power?
Yep.
Where was it held?
They pick different cities each year. This year in July, it'll be in Nashville, Tennessee.
You going?
Absolutely.
Do you go every year?
I do.
Nice.
Yep.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't heard of that for some reason. But I love the premise of it. So that makes sense. Star Power. Cool.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing that. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
No.
Nothing come to mind. You don't have time for that nonsense, right?
No, I just, that's when I zone out. So like if I'm watching TV, it's just to disconnect. So there's nothing favorite. No.
What do you love to do for fun when you get a chance to relax and unwind? What are some of your passions, hobbies?
Put my toes in the sand.
Yes, living on the beach, I guess, helps with that.
You know, that beach walking and water, I love it. I love it. I love it. I can never see too many sunsets. I can never see too many dolphins jumping around. And like recreationally, I'm obsessed with hot yoga at the moment.
Hot yoga?
Yep.
Have you ever done like the goat thing?
I have
the
not.
The goat yoga? I've seen that on social media. It feels like it's out and about. I know that my wife was invited to do it. She didn't actually do it, but she was invited to do the goat yoga thing at one point.
I've seen people, but no, I love to go to my hot yoga studio.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Hot yoga, I've heard good things about that for sure. Do you have a favorite food?
Favorite food? No.
Not really, huh?
I love all food. That's my problem. That's why I have to go to hot yoga.
I figured if you're a beach fan, then you probably picked a good state to be able to live in. It makes sense to be living right on the beach. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, we're going to put a bow on this episode, but I'm going to ask you this question, which I call our legacy question. And it has to do with, which I find, again, fascinating in speaking with you, Heidi, because so many people in real estate don't stick it out for the long haul. And it's impressive that you have really, and been successful as you have for as long as you have. And a lot of times when someone faces a challenge, market changes, that's like their reason to get out, and the fact that you have been a local legend, at least in our brand, speaks a lot to your commitment and to the level of success that you brought to the table. But when you think about what you would want to be most remembered for, whenever you do end up sitting on that rocking chair and think back to whether it's business or even personal, what do you think matters to you most? What would you want to be most remembered for from a legacy perspective?
That I helped women grow.
That's cool.
And one of my true passions outside of the business is helping women grow and helping women change. So there's a local charity here in Tampa called Created Women.
Nice.
And it helps victims of sex trafficking get into recovery, get off the streets, and restart their lives. And we do a lot of fundraising for them. I attend and go to as much functions as they have as possible, and it's something that people don't like to talk about.
Sure. It's an ugly world.
And, the sex trafficking around Tampa is at academic level. I mean, it's awful.
Yeah, it is.
And I've had the honor and the pleasure of watching some of these women get off the street and restart their lives. And, a lot of them come in with legal problems, drug and alcohol problems, and they can rehabilitate and restart their lives. And my message always to anybody is you're never too old to start over. I completely restarted my life one more time at 50. My life is very different than it was for the
50.
first.
You look like a day over 30. Come on now.
Than it was the first 20 years in the business. So, if you're in real estate and you're not happy with how it's going, what part of it do you like? Do that.
Yeah.
Don't do the parts that you don't like.
Totally.
And if you feel like you need to make a career change, then make it. Just because I happen to have, a desire to stay in it forever, I think it might be because I'm unemployable. It's okay. Do what's right for you, and make the way that you do business that's right for you.
Totally. Thank you for being here, Heidi. There was a lot of great content. I feel like we should have you back with your daughter maybe next time and have another conversation to talk more about some of the takeaways from all the conferences you guys have been to and everything. I find that fascinating. Our parent franchise with N2, that N2 is the name of the parent franchise that owns Real Producers nationally. They are very passionate about helping and fighting helping organizations and causes that fight human trafficking. I know they donated millions of dollars to that cause last year. A couple particular organizations, Love Justice is one that comes to mind. There's like a good 4 or 5 actually that are on our website and that come to our annual conferences just to give updates and share like what our support has helped do, right? And so I definitely know that some of the horror stories that I've seen that side of it as well, and it's really neat that that's a passion of yours as well. We have a monthly section in our magazine called Making a Difference, which is designed to try to spotlight causes that are local in Tampa Bay. I think it'd be a great one if we could maybe do a spotlight on Creative Woman and maybe have you share a couple thoughts about it or something. So we'll have to follow up on that. I think that'd be a great cause to get some more word out about.
I would love that.
And go from there. But if someone wants to reach out to you, Heidi, just to pick your brain or connect with you in any way, what's the best way for someone to reach you?
So it's super simple. Heidi at homewithjoy.com is my email. Heidi at homewithjoy. Or you can always reach me at 727-480-8363.
Awesome. We'll make sure that's listed up on our socials there when we have all this posted for you. And we'll put a bow on the episode with a challenge the way we always do, and that is to end this episode with taking away one action step that you can take from our conversation with Heidi today that you feel like will help move you forward personally or professionally. Maybe it's literally just reaching out to Heidi to have a conversation from somebody who has 20 years of experience in this business, and that's impressive to say the least in and of itself. Maybe you're heard her say something about her passion for the luxury clientele and luxury market, and that's something that you might want to get involved with, or the way that she used to work with short sales, or who knows, could have been the last thing that she said about just focusing on what you like in the business and make that something you can build upon. But there's a lot of maybe you have to look up the Star Power Conference, and we'll see you there in Nashville next year. But is there one action step that you can take that would make this time that you invested in listening and watching this podcast worth it? And if you take that step, then that's really going to be the whole point of why we do these podcasts in the first place. So as always, if you don't already follow us, you can subscribe at our YouTube channel, Tampa Bay Real Producers, and just subscribe there so you get notifications every time we drop a new episode, which is every Friday. And of course, you can follow us on all of our socials, Facebook, Instagram, and the like. So we'll see you on the next episode of Tampa Bay Real Producers. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll see you then.